Hey Will, who was Oj Simpson?
Oh, Oriental James Simpson, also known as Oj Simpson, was born on July 9th, 1947. He played running back at San Francisco University before transferring to USC. He was later the #1 pick in the NFL draft by the Buffalo Bills.
So, was he any good in the NFL?
Oh, yeah, he was awesome. In 1975, he scored 23 touchdowns. That record stood until 1983.
So, what was his life like outside the NFL?
Yeah, he was actually a prominent figure in pop culture. He starred in movies such as The Towering Inferno and Naked Gun series.
What about after he retired from the NFL?
Yeah, he actually worked as a sports commentator for the NFL.
Wow, he seems like a pretty cool guy. But why is he so hated today?
Yeah, Jimbo, actually, in 1994, he was charged with the murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Rob. His trial began in January of 1995, and it was one of the most public trials in U.S.
So was he found guilty?
Many people do think he was guilty, but the jury had other plans. He was acquitted on October 3rd, 1995. OJ actually paid millions of dollars for a team of high qualified lawyers. The team is considered the dream team. They smartly framed the case as racial injustice and police misconduct.
Wait, so was he guilty?
Well, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Well, what does that even mean?
Well, that was a famous slogan used by his legal team because when they tried on the glove that was used during the murder, it didn't fit him in court, which was very important for the case.
But what did the public think about the case during the time?
Well, since he was such a prominent figure in pop culture and such a good football player, nobody believed he was capable of such a thing.
So, to what extent was Oj Simpson protected in court because of his fame and his money?
Well, O.J. Simpson was able to pay for an amazing legal team that most people wouldn't be able to afford. And like any public trial that's as big as his, the public definitely had an influence on what was ruled. And since the public saw him as such a prominent pop figure and he was so good at football, nobody believed he could do such a thing. Years later, he was actually found civilly liable for the crime and had to pay $33.5 million in damages. In 2007, he actually released a book called If I Did It. The public was astonished at this. It wasn't admitting the crime, so there was no direct evidence he did it because he was just kind of making it seem as if he did it. Although his money and fame didn't directly cause the jury to acquit him, his money, fame, elite legal team, and social reputation all together was able to create enough reasonable doubt at the time for the jury to acquit him. Years later, he was actually found civilly liable, which means the jury was wrong, and all this stuff OJ put together to make him look innocent actually worked.
Wait, but what does civilly liable even mean?
Him being found civilly liable years later means that the jury found it more likely than not that he was involved or responsible for the crimes, but he never served any jail time for the crime. So O.J. Simpson has a very controversial reputation. To some he's known as a football player, to some he's known as a murderer, and some he's just known as a pop star. But I'd say most people consider him guilty. And I think we can all agree, if he wasn't such a good football player, if he wasn't such a prominent figure in pop culture, and if he didn't make all that money playing football, I don't think he would have ever been acquitted. But that's just me. Let me know if you agree.